This is the brand new iPhone 14. And in today's video, we're talking specifically about the iPhone 14 Pro Max. But before we dive into that conversation, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Behind me, you're gonna see a Mac Studio Ultra with a brand new studio display. You're gonna see an M1 24-inch iMac, the latest and greatest iPhone, as well as a brand new M1 iPad Pro. But what we're recording this video on is the Samsung S20 Ultra. See the problem? What's going on, guys? My name's David Tomic and I'm a registered architect here in Western Australia. I believe that gives me the credentials to tell you why this iPhone 14 has been architecturally designed to perfection. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'll tell you exactly why you should buy one of these iPhone 14s, but more importantly, why you should buy your mum one. Let's start the conversation with the latest and greatest feature, the Dynamic Island. Now, the Dynamic Island is something that is truly Apple and something truly special. Multiple brands on the market do have this pill-shaped cutout and have had it for years. It is nothing remarkable and it is nothing innovative in any way, shape or form. But what makes it architectural and what makes it truly Apple is its innovation and thought process behind it. Apple hasn't simply gone ahead and created a dynamic island or a cutout in their screen that simply lives in the middle of your screen. They've given it a purpose, they've given it a function, and most importantly, they've given it a life. Now, as an architect, we seek inspiration from the world around us. We seek how we can create when there is nothing to be created from. So basically what Apple has done is taken nothing and created something. They've used this pill-shaped cutout to be able to create the most unique feature that iPhone is able to provide in the market in 2022. If you have no idea what the Dynamic Island is and you haven't seen the hundreds and hundreds of iPhone videos out there already within the space of 10 minutes of the iPhone release, what the Dynamic Island is simply a notification bar that has been accelerated through the use of hardware and software. They've implemented a unique software feature to wrap around this hardware pill-shaped cutout. It therefore enhances the beauty of the pill-shaped cutout rather than simply just making a defect on the screen. It is able to provide you with quick, useful information that is available to your fingertips at any point in time. It is something that is always on, it is something that is always active in the background. So the Dynamic Island is now basically its own living, breathing notification center at the top of your screen. In typical Apple fashion, we have a brand new feature that isn't new at all. The always on display has been around for years on all other devices. However, Apple likes to claim that they've done something new and they've done something innovative. Unfortunately for Apple, this does actually play into their character and what their users love. So from the very first day when the very first iPhone was released, there was a very simple feature on the iPhone that was hardware related and hasn't changed since day one. I'm talking about the automatic silencing switch. One simple switch on the side of your iPhone is able to take your phone from mute to loud in a matter of seconds. Now, this is critically important to anybody in a meeting. How often have you seen somebody pull out their iPhone, quickly switch it to silent and put it away? Versus how many times have you seen anybody pull out any other device and try to understand how to put this phone on silent and how to stop it from ringing? There is a very, very architectural purpose behind this, and it is truly something that Apple has made their very own. Now, with the always on display, your phone is able to provide you with all of these updates without you being distracted and without you seeming like you're being intrusive and interruptive to anybody or any meeting in that instance. Who would have thought one iPhone with 3 simple buttons on the side would make such an architectural statement in its unique form, design, and creativity? Something that is truly important to every architect and anybody that works outside quite frequently is the display brightness. Now, the new iPhone 14 has a 16 nit brightness with a peak brightness of over 2000 nits, which makes it as bright and as powerful as the Pro XDR display. When you are outside on site trying to capture the perfect photo or the perfect moment, or even that Instagram shot to promote your business and your brand, you're not going to be able to do it successfully if your phone can't compete with the sun. Every single year, Apple endeavors to make this truly better, and this year they've truly stepped it up well and above beyond anybody's expectations. Now, photography and videography are critical to any architect or any professional looking to build their brand and their business. However, everything that Apple talks about in their event about this iPhone 14, basically most common people have no idea what they're talking about. So let me break it down for you in how it can actually be used in everyday life in a real setting. The 48 megapixel quad pixel sensor is what everybody's going to be talking about for months to come. But what is a 48 megapixel quad pixel sensor? Let me define it in layman's terms that will make sense to most people. It is a 48 megapixel camera, which means it is relatively large format. It uses pixel bending technology to automatically create 4 pixels down into 1. So therefore it allows you to produce better photos in better low light conditions and harsh environments to a simple, smaller resolution photo. So you will always get the same photo size you are used to, but you will have significantly better results. Pixel binning has been around for a very long time, but what makes it special is the innovative technologies inside the A16 Bionic chip. The A16 Bionic now has an intelligent processor specifically designed to bin these pixels. That means as more photos are taken throughout the iPhone network, the smarter this system's gonna get, the better the AI is gonna get, and the better your photos are progressively gonna get over time. Now, nobody can guarantee that the photo taken today will be better than the photo taken tomorrow, but in layman's terms, that is the overall intention behind pixel binning through an AI system in the A16 Bionic chip. You might be thinking as well, great, we have 3 cameras on the back like we always have. What's the difference? Well, the 48 megapixel main sensor is now a 24mm focal length with a 48mm focal length when you go to 2x zoom. Again, David, stop using all these big terms and start explaining it in layman's terms. Basically, the 24mm and the 48mm lenses are critical in photography. Most photographers will use anything from a 16mm to a 24mm to capture the perfect landscape shot, whilst they'll go all the way up to a 50mm to capture the perfect portrait. So in your back pocket now, you have a 24mm and a 48mm, both in that 48 megapixel camera system with the larger sensor that can take amazing photos for either landscape or portrait. Not to mention the ultra wide camera is also a macro camera. That means you're allowed to come as close as you want to be able to define those subjects and define those details. As we all know, architects love to get up close and personal with their details, and we truly love to capture the finest details we possibly can. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Imagine you're out on site somewhere in the middle of nowhere, typical remote Australia. You're walking through the long grass and a nostalgic sound plays. All of a sudden, your world flashes and a wild snake appears. Before you even have time to pull out your Pokeball and choose Pikachu, unfortunately, that snake has bitten you, poisoned you, and escaped. You're down for the count, nowhere to go, nowhere to run, no reception more importantly, and you're looking at death right in the eye. So what happens in this situation? Well, with any other mobile phone, you're most likely going to die. Unfortunately, that is a sad reality. However, with the iPhone 14, now for the first time ever, you have satellite emergency communication, basically allowing you to use any satellite in the sky to get an SOS message out. This feature could truly be the difference between a phone that saves your life and a phone that just sits in your pocket. Now let's take this a little bit further. Imagine if you sent that message to your mum. She jumps in the car, hits the nitrous button and drives like Dominic Toretto. Unfortunately, she's Dominic Toretto in the first movie and that train clips the side of her car. The brand new iPhone 14 has inbuilt crash detection, which will automatically send an SOS emergency signal to allow emergency services to come to her rescue. The moral of the story is if you're gonna buy yourself an iPhone, make sure you buy your mum one. Anyway, that's all from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, there's a playlist to the side of me with more great architectural content. And if you loved the video, make sure you smash that subscribe button down below. But like always, I'll see you next Monday.